On May 8th, 2024, around 6:40 p.m., a massive wedge tornado touched down to the north and east of Columbia, Tennessee. Earlier that day, Tanya and Mike Moon, who lived with their family in the Kedron Road area, had heard bad weather was coming a few days prior, and they were keeping a very close eye on these storms.
We were all aware of the weather just because a few days before, you're listening to the Weather Channel. My husband, he's in concrete construction, so he's got to kind of pay attention to that stuff.
We were working like it was a normal day. I knew some weather was going to be coming. You couldn't really tell throughout the day. It just seemed like a normal day.
We got up that morning, I walked out the door, and I actually said, oh my gosh, when I stepped outside, this feels like tornado weather. But nobody that morning was feeling any type of fear or thinking at all that anything this disastrous was about to happen.
Mike, should we be going downstairs? We probably should.
All right, kids, go downstairs. Dad said to go downstairs. Oh my gosh, you're getting it, right?
So I actually had no idea that there was even going to be any storms at all. It was sunny all day and I was just bored. I was laying in bed.
Towards the end of the day, we were finishing up on a job just north of here in Brentwood.
And then I had a friend text me and tell me, I hope you guys are okay. I'm praying for you guys. It's looking like it's going to be really bad. So she said, I have this guy that I watch, Ryan Hall. We put him on when we were in town. And that is what was like the turning point that day.
I would say that Andy's got some stuff to say about that, maybe even the storm down there near Columbia. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, Ryan, the Columbia storm is unfortunately on the ground now. The tornado is active.
My wife and I took off early, and my son-in-law and my son Charlie were going to finish up there. And we got about 5 minutes down the road and started hearing the warnings on the radio.
He started getting kind of nervous about that, and that's when he started calling our children. They were all off in various areas and telling them, you know, I think this could be really potentially bad, so everybody needs to kind of get home from where they're at.
My mom texted me and she was like, hey, you probably need to go inside. The weather's looking like it's going to get bad. But when I got that message, I fought her on it a little bit. I said the weather looked fine. Looking back, it's kind of embarrassing that I didn't take her more seriously, but inside I was still like, what if this is the one time where I finally don't listen to her and this is the one time that something happens? So I came down here and I got my sister and nieces and brought them back.
So when we got here, we had Ryan on YouTube. We really didn't get any warnings on our phone until it was on top of us. It was mostly from watching Ryan that made us take it seriously.
He was the only one that really just zeroed in on the Columbia tornado. The tornado, I'm not exactly sure where it formed, but I remember from one of the firehouses on Ryan's channel, seeing the picture of it and being like, wow, and you could see it.
Oh, I don't know what happened, but my goodness, that is a big tornado. This is the last frame that we have from the Columbia, Tennessee Fire Station 3
this tornado warning
camera. This is a large wedge tornado. That's unfortunate. This is a very populated area.
Us, and as well as like my mom in Michigan and a lot of other people around here that we've talked to said they happened to be watching him, and they were all saying, oh my gosh, that's gonna hit Mike and Tanya's house. We were watching it, we were saying, oh my gosh, I think that's gonna hit our house. As we're watching it, you know, my children, my older boys, and my child Gabriel that's very obsessed with tornadoes, he's been wanting to see a tornado the entire time, so he was like extremely excited about it. Our parents and the older children were kind of a little more nervous, and there was like excitement and fear.
We could definitely tell something was happening. It was mostly the outside noises because all the cicadas are out right now, so we hear the cicadas noises and the birds and everything. But that night when we opened the door, all of that was just silent. Everything was just silent, and you could just hear that rumble that in the background.
Can you hear? I can hear something out there.
Okay, go downstairs. Why is the wind so low?
When we started hearing the tornado, we heard that freight train sound out the back door, and the sky was black and everything was just calm, but we could hear it. That's when I told everybody, grab your shoes and let's head down into the basement. Grab shoes. Why? The last straw really was the power. When it went out the first time, the kids started screaming. You know, they were like, oh my gosh, something is not right.
Like I was crying, and I would never cry in just a normal storm. but I heard my sisters start crying, and then it was my dad. My dad, he's very laid back. Once he started having a reaction, I was like, something's about to happen. He chuckled, he did a very awkward chuckle, and he said, hold on. And I knew from that time that it was happening, and I heard the wind, and all of our ears started popping, and I felt dust. It's a nightmare that you couldn't wake up from.
Where's Dad? He's right there. He's right behind you. Sit with me.
Stop.
All right, everybody,
What?
hang on.
No. What happened? What happened?
I have Delilah. Dad, you want to get under there? Dear Lord, please be with us. Dear Lord, please be with us. Oh my gosh. Please keep us safe.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my ears are popping. My ears are popping. Please. Please. Please.
Lord, please.
And coming out of that basement, explain what you saw.
So, man, coming out of the basement was worse than anything you could ever imagine. I mean, I helped my dad build that whole house that was sucked away. And I have videos of me and him laying the block.
And it's just something that took so long and feels so strong and took so much hard work to build, and you feel like you're safe in. All of a sudden it's unmistakable that it's being ripped apart above your heads, and it's terrifying sounding, but at the same time it sounds almost like paper. Like it's just so easy for it to just cut through it like it's nothing. My kids were screaming, our dogs were screaming, and I remember feeling like thinking I'm waiting for pain or I'm dead. And that was one of the scariest things for me. Hearing my children, knowing I couldn't help them with their fear because I didn't know if we were gonna make it or not. And then thinking that, is the entire floor gonna collapse down on us? Are we gonna suffer? Are we gonna feel the pain and die? So all these things kind of go through your head, fear, and then kind of like a denial, and then almost like an acceptance. Like, I know I'll be with the Lord, and I know my children will be. And it was just kind of accepting it, I guess. And it all in such kind of like the stages of grief, I guess, all within like 2 minutes.
Caleb, my husband, he was literally holding me up by my arm, and he walked me over to where they were crawling out just to look at everything. And it was just like apocalyptic. Just seeing everything that you worked so hard for the past 2 years just gone within a matter of minutes. It just, the worst thing you could possibly imagine.
And this is where we ended up coming out, because this was the
little
laundry
hole right
room.
here?
Well, this whole part of the house actually lifted off and just fell over. So this was completely open. I remember walking down too, and we had a few moments trying to figure out where we should hide. And I had first looked over here out thinking, I wonder where the best spot is. And my husband's like, let's just stay under the stairwell right here. Had we been over here, I don't know. And so I think about that sometimes, like, would we have been sucked out of there? Because this was just completely open.
Whole barn, the house, Kalen's house, our house. No, Kalen's house is there.
Kaylin, your house is there! Mom, our house is gone! No, Mom, our house is gone! Dad, it took you so long!
It looked like a bomb had gone off. Like the tree line was completely gone. Just seeing the destruction, the buildings, our pole barn was just completely flattened. One of our vehicles that's gone now, but it was attached to a trailer. It had been probably tossed in the air and flipped up, and just, it was just crazy looking. My second eldest daughter was also living on the property, and she was building a tiny home over here.
We moved onto this property to build a tiny home. We were actually living in my parents' camper. And right before we moved, we found out that I was pregnant. We were so excited, pregnant with our first baby, about to build our first home. We were probably maybe a month or more away from being able to move into it. I mean, I did most of the work at pregnant while my husband was at work. I was going out every single day. I did like all the electrical and the plumbing, the drywall, the flooring, and to be that close and then have it all just be gone in a matter of minutes was very disheartening, to say the least.
How many family members did you have in this?
16.
16 people
so
underneath their
absolutely,
stairwell.
yeah. It was, so my husband and I have 9 children, and we have 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way. So we were all under there. My second eldest, Jenna, her husband was with us also. So a total of 16 with the unborn. It's your life before it and then your life after it. It's just a weird feeling. Your life has just completely changed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Now give me a hug.
Yeah. So nice meeting you guys.
So nice meeting you too. The motivation behind the Y'all Squad is definitely the people. It's hard not to get emotional because you're seeing people that have had their lives completely ripped out from underneath them, and you're talking to them and they have smiles on their faces and they're just living another day. To be able to give back to those families and to be a part of a team, a community that really puts people first, I think that just speaks for itself. This year, we hope to grow even bigger than any of us ever even thought. So we decided that we were going to buy a warehouse, fill it full of supplies, and grow the Y'all Squad. And that way we can accept donations, we can accept volunteers, and we will be able to show up in any areas quickly and efficiently and give back to the communities in need as quick as possible.
None of this would be possible without you. Help the Y'all Squad continue to show up when disaster strikes by liking and sharing this video, because every penny this channel generates is going right back into the nonprofit organization. You can also go to theyallsquad.org to make a tax-deductible donation to our official 501c3. Thanks to you, once again, the Y'all Squad was able to be there for those in need, offering a helping hand to many affected by severe weather. Thank you all so much for giving us the opportunity to do this. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.